All right, here we go, y'all. This is a simple one. To me, it's simple because what it stands for, you know what I'm saying, what it means, what it's supposed to do. But but two things, man. One, when I talk about drawing a line in the sand, and I'll talk about this weekly update stuff. I'm gonna, because there's a few things I wanted to hit up. Um, Wanted to talk about how that investment made into the Chinese foreign sector has treated them very well. But to draw the line in the sand, we're going to start with something that's near and dear to my heart and soul. Wanted to talk about it the other day, but I was just too tired. And some of you may have heard of this, some of you may have not. She's a young lady by the name of Joy Morgan. Her picture should be in this article. Uh, the initial the initial article that I had got, the website that I had got from brother Melvis, they've since been updated and they've probably had to remove a lot of the information. We're gonna read what it says. I have a recording, so if I see too much missing from this, I'll upload the recording um, as is, so that way you guys can see what I see. Now, here we go. Police are searching for a missing university student. They're trying to chase information on a car belonging to a man accused of her murder. Now, stop right there. In the initial website that I read, right, um, right here, which is at the BBC, right, this is the young lady, Miss Morgan, beautiful young lady, and they believe that she's dead. Uh, well, it says they believe that she was last seen at a church. The church is the IUIC. Uh, that's the Israel United in Christ or whatever. Uh, you know, the guys with all the funny names, those types of dudes. Here we go. Shafa El Israel, 40, of Northwest London, is charged with the murder of Joy Morgan, a 21-year-old midwifery student at the University of Hertfordshire. Morgan was last seen in Ilford, East London on 26 December, and her body has yet to be found. Detectives investigating her murder have released a photo of a car they said belongs to Israel and issued an appeal for information. Police previously reported Israel names as Ajibola Shagbamimu. The Honda car, which has been located, has a red rock body and a black roof and bonnet. DI Justice Jenkins from the Bedfordshire, Cambridgeshire, and Hertfordshire major crime units said, "We know that Joy used to travel in this vehicle, which is we know that Joy used to travel in this vehicle, which is highly distinctive, and I am particularly interested to hear from anybody who saw this vehicle over the festive period into the new year." Now, stop right there. Either she knew this dude that they arrested, okay, or the police have the information wrong. You understand? Because if she's known to travel with the dude, where's the dude's picture? The dude's picture is nowhere. And I've been looking for him. They have yet to show this guy. Now I'm gonna keep reading. They say Morgan, described as a slim, 5'5" with glasses, afro hair, she covers with a scarf. Has links to Ilford, Battersea, Cricklewood, Stevenage, and Luton. An online fundraising page has been set up by a woman in the U.S. to support Morgan's family. Has almost raised $14,000, which is about $10,000, 10,600 euros. Rhonda Small, who has not yet, I mean pounds, excuse me, which is not related, which has who is not related, contacted Morgan's mother Carol to offer help coverage, legal, burial, and other costs. Morgan's cousin Charmaine Morgan Cyrus, 36, from Battersea, Southwest London, said We weren't aware of how far it would go. We're speechless. The motivation was for support and love for the family. She generally felt sympathy for not being able to find joy. It was nice to see people wanted to help, she said, thanking those that had donated. Morgan Cyrus said her family were praying and hoping for joy to be found. Auntie Carol always got hope that joy will come through the door like she always will do. Like she always do. Like we all do. There we go. She added. We just want this over and done with, bad or good. We just want peace of mind. Every day we wake up, get ready, and come down to my aunt's. We're like zombies. Israel will next appear at St. Albans Crown Court for a pretrial preparation on 31st May and trial set for 8th of July. Now, I need y'all to understand this. There's no murder case without a fucking body. All right? There isn't one. And once again, just in case you're just getting here, this young lady, Joy Morgan, came up missing. And I'm going to tell you what this has to do with drawing the line in the sand. This is why I don't go around calling myself, Israelite this, Israelite that, blah, 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 blah. Because you have these guys who have the, what's the word? They have the platform, they have the, what's the word? They have the status. And because of such, we're not able to say things that otherwise would make sense. Like, for example, it doesn't matter what I feel about myself. If these guys are supposed to be so-called Israelites, the last time she was seen, it was at one of their cult camp churches in London, right? Right around the so-called white man's holidays. They're claiming that they don't celebrate holidays, but in the original article that I read, they said that they were celebrating some kind of holy day. Now I'm thinking in my head, what holy day is associated with that time of the year? And I'm like, none that I can think of right off the top of my head. So once again, this made me think that they were into some kind of human sacrifice. Haven't found the body, probably will never find her body. Her body has probably been, who God knows what they did to this young lady. And the church over there, just like the main congregation of the one here, these guys, they're saying that they encourage their members to be fully cooperative with the law, but that doesn't mean anything because let me tell you this. For this young lady to have last been heard from by her mother was on the 26th of December, I want to say. It's inconceivable to think that it took everybody 6 weeks to wonder where she was at. Now, it's even more inconceivable that she went to this church and didn't have any contact with anyone else other than this 40-year-old guy who they've arrested for the murder. Now, what connection he has with her, they haven't even said. But why I'm saying you got to draw the line in the sand. This is why I say, all these camps, these Power Ranger wearing suit wearing motherfuckers, all these funny ass name having people talking about I speak Hebrew, Aramaic, whatever the fuck. You have to draw a line, with these people, and this is just as good as reason as any, to really, really, really be like, man, what the fuck is going on? Because you're saying to me that all these dudes go to church. This chick was last seen at your church. And since then, she hasn't had contact with anyone who goes to your church. She hasn't had contact with anybody. I mean, it's fucking bullshit. And you're saying to me that this dude, this 40-year-old character, was able to pull all this off all by himself. Now, mind you, Cuddy had 6 weeks. So 6 weeks is a long time for anybody to get their shit right. But it's just, I don't see this this situation getting any better, because if they're asking people if they've seen the vehicle anywhere after the New Year's festivities, because they're thinking wherever the vehicle may have been spotted is where the body's at. they're not about to find her body, y'all. Okay? Whatever these people did to her body is gone, never to be discovered. That's a fact. And this dude will probably get away with murder because ultimately there's no body. And they haven't told us any motive to anything. So until they divulge a motive, there's no reason to think that this dude did anything to her. And in my mind, there's not. There's no proof of anything. There's no proof. That's just an allegation. And before I say that, oh, you did it, I'd rather assume that this church may have done something and he may be the setup dude. You know, he may be the fall guy for all this shit. And then again, something could have went wrong with the young lady and this guy, but it's still all of it's really funny that that this happened around this one of these so-called Israelite camps. You know, mind you, in the article it said it described them as a group that the Southern Poverty Law Center calls a black extremist group, black nationalist group, whatever. And what makes that really, 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 once again, disconcerting is that you don't need to be associated with anything that is going to give you grief. Okay? If it's going to cause you problems, you don't need to be associated with it. It's that simple. And some people don't want to hear that. Some people want to think that, oh man, these brothers get out there and they're doing the Lord's work. These guys aren't doing anything but trying to further their personal agendas. And the fact that they had nothing helpful to say, nothing truly helpful, talking about we were going to offer a reward for somebody to to help find her. It's like, why aren't you guys investigating your own members? Why isn't that church doing their own full blown investigative effort? So it's all bullshit, you know. Um, and those dirty bastards are going to go down eventually, but just not yet. Um, and yeah, I don't want to be associated with nobody like that because I read the Bible, I talk about the Bible, you know. But when things like this happen, it's not to like distance myself. I believe black people are Israelites, you know, a certain type of black people, not all black people. Like these suckers say, like all black people and Hispanics are Israelites. It's nonsense. It's a tainted doctrine. But outside of the doctrine being tainted, when things like this happen so closely to you, and they're assuming that she's dead, you know. Notice that the police they're not hoping for the best. They're like worst case scenario. Uh, that's a tragedy, for somebody's parents to have to go through that kind of shit, and then for her to be so young and the guy involved to be so much older than her. It's like, once again, I can't stress to these young ladies and these older chicks and these younger dudes, you know what I'm saying? Unless you really feel like you want to be with that person, you really need to like be circumspect in the type of situations you're putting yourself in. You know, uh, it's just unwise to think, oh, I'm grown, I can take care of myself, or this, that, and the other. And once again, people can't even verify when she left. They can't even say what she was doing because the last time they said they seen her, she was dancing. You know, this whole thing is crazy. You know, the fact that the initial article can't even be found anymore, but it's all right. Uh, I'm gonna move on from this, and I'm gonna slowly move my way into my little MSN articles and some other stuff. About drawing the line, uh, because I had made a video. Fuck, I don't know how many months ago, right? But I made it a long time ago, and the video was called H. Aram Out Hitmaker. And truth be told, it's about my man R. Kelly, you know, and the whole point was was just to kind of point out how like people had really kind of jumped on the man's back, and had everybody's so quick to be like he's a pedophile, this that or the other. But these are the same people who probably have listened to his songs, his music, and have enjoyed his music at some point in their life. And for them to pick up the mantle and to say all these types of things, like it's one thing for you to be like, I'll never listen to this person's music ever again. I'll never support them in any way, shape, or form. It's another thing for you to level to level judgment against them, and you actually literally don't know them. You only know what somebody else has said about them, and that shit is crazy. And once again, I'm drawing the line in the sand on so many different things. Don't worry, I'm gonna draw the line in the sand with the ADOS here pretty soon. Uh, the Americans, descendants of slaves, or whatever they want to call that. Uh, uh, your boy feels like a lot of the things that I've said in the past, I'm talking about for years now, are are I mean, they're the exact they're the spinal cord of what movements like that are made of. The literal lifeblood of it. You can't get to American descendants of slaves until you get past the fact that okay, the Africans who are in Africa, the so-called other Africans who are dispersed all over the world, right? All those black people, okay, they all went through they all experienced their own history way differently, you know. So for people to not really respect what each different struggle is and each different unique experience is beyond me, number one. But number two, it creates way too much confusion. See, when I say what I'm saying, I speak on the level of black people in America have a very unique upbringing. It's totally different than anywhere else in the world. The first and most basic reason is that America has become the beacon of whatever to the whole world. I won't even call it a beacon of light or hope, but it's people want to be here. Now, the what people have to understand, greetings, brother, greetings. I was hoping you were going to be able to make it. However, what people have to understand about the black experience in America is that from the black aboriginal that was already in America to the black people that were brought here to America, the instances of their existence have to be examined first as to what the country was or was known as before a certain period of time. Now, what I need people to get is this: Africa was a great nation before they sold off all of the so-called black people who were brought here and brought elsewhere for hardcore bondage. But what is most in particular, most peculiar about this set of black people is that they managed to this day, still do, set trends and create things that other people can't even fathom how they did that. Now, when you look at the existence of a black slave in America who was a creator, then becomes a free man, never to own any of his own ideas and to die broke, you see, but to have other people come here, get a job in that same industry that this man may have pioneered through an invention, then come and say that the same black people who live in America are lazy and are undeserving of what they have is a slap to the face of the same black man who was a slave in this country, mind you, who I guess they think is lazy because he didn't get paid what his idea and his invention was worth from people who didn't have to give him anything. Greetings, Brother Michael. Greetings. And so when you have a dynamic of black people not being paid anything, I have to go back to Eli Whitney and the cotton gin because I need people to really understand what Eli Whitney essentially did. The patent I can't prove came out because he saw a slave with the cotton gin. I can't prove it, but I believe the cotton gin was around for years and years before Eli Whitney ever did what he did with it. I just think that he didn't have a way of the slave not making a dispute. And I believe that they were like, well, what if the slave does have an actual agree? There may have been some dialogue about whether or not a slave can be an owner of creative property. It took them till 1790 to figure it out. Get what I'm really saying right now. It took them a long time to figure out what was and wasn't okay for a slave to have. If that was clear and bona fide information, then people who created things before the Patent Act of 1790, mind the fact that the environment was totally different, those people might have a different mention in history. They don't. So the fact is this. When you start saying, okay, well, these black people are industrious, these black people are trendsetters, and hell, in fact, they're the lifeblood of this entire nation. Without them, none of this happens. What you get to pretty much say is essentially is that without the blacks in America, there is no rest of the world operating the way that it does. I want you to step back and really think about what I'm saying for a moment, y'all. There is none of that. Nowhere. Nowhere. It would be impossible. If you minus all the inventions that black people created here, forget how they affected America. Think about how they affected the entire world. It's easy for people to say, oh, someone would have eventually thought it up. That's easy to say because it's already here in a tangible form. But it wasn't here before that. So how can a person assume that for however long with the same, this is what I need y'all to understand, the same copper that creates wires was here forever. The same electricity that holds, right, itself or that can be housed within copper has been here forever. The ability to put copper from one end to another so that way it can produce energy from this spot to another has been here forever. Any kind of metal, but I'm just using copper for a basic example. That has been here forever. So the idea of what a computer is, or any other sort of mechanism that is powered through electricity, the ideas have been here. They're already, nothing can be made that doesn't exist. I don't think people really get that. You can't make something that does not exist. It's here because the tangible resources that are needed to create it exist. Otherwise, it can't take place. This is a simple thing. But people want to argue, no. It's something other than that. And I'm like, no, that's just what it is. It's that simple. The line in the sand for us has to be, okay, well, the black aboriginals who were here before, their nation wasn't known as being this great, boisterous nation before. So if it wasn't boisterous and great before, that means that the blacks that were brought here made it great. So that means that your grievance is different than the aboriginals who allowed themselves to be slaughtered to the tune of 56 million people in a 100-year period. Your grievance is totally different than theirs. Totally different. While you are a victim of this struggle, your level of victimhood is not to the tune of 56 million people. You can't, there is no proof of what number of people they actually brought here. There's no proof that they of the number of 56 million. I believe it was much higher than that. But what I do know is that the treatment you got once here, black man and black woman, is so detrimental, so crucial, that the fact that you were able to still create things that the entire world, I need you to understand this, wrap your minds around this, not just here in America, not just in your neighborhood, not just in your home where you live. The entire planet thrives and enjoys things that your ancestors created here in this land. Nowhere else where there were slaves at. Nowhere else, okay? And this isn't a knock. This isn't a hit to anybody. This is what it is. Your ancestors here did the most. Everybody around the world gets to eat off of that plate. So if these guys are serious about their movements, they need to create a Caribbean descendants of slave movements, right on, and overall, motherland, or because since they want to say that is where we're from, and I know it's not. I know that's not where my people are from. I know my people are from the Middle East. They migrated to Africa because the Romans put a vicious whooping on them, and those who weren't sold into slavery by the Romans moved into what they call Africa, Kemet, whatever. Anyway, these same people, just did, man, they did make your own movement up. That's the whole thing. Like I don't see why there's any pushback. I don't see why people of other, of other parts of the diaspora even care like that. They should have copied. I'm telling them right now to just copy the movement, dog. Don't get mad about it. Just do something about it. Copy the whole fucking movement. Like, damn, okay, that makes hella sense. Because the descendants of slaves in another place have a whole nother grievance, and that needs to be addressed. I'm drawing the line in the sand for us because that has nothing to do with us. Nothing. No thing. And your boy has been talking about black people and what they do and don't deserve for a long time. I believe that our ancestors were and are a peculiar people, and we are paying for what they've done. With that said, I believe that the worst of what we have done was achieved a long time ago, and we paid for it. With that said, those who have held us here against our will should make right by giving us everything that they own, everything, and going to other places in the world where in which they have vested interest and bankrupting those places as well. And everywhere that's ever enjoyed anything that has been created by the hands of a black man, you owe us fucking everything too. And because the world is not willing to capitulate to such standards, what I'm owed, they will never give to me. Come the day of reckoning, I will take it. Feel however you want to feel about that. That's just that simple. What I'm owed, I will take. People want to sit around and act as if uh, uh, you're going to be able to have a chance to just vote your way into a good situation. That's not how it happens. Don't worry, I got a story for y'all here in a second. It's on the Washington Post, so I'm going to have to get through it quickly, but I'm not going to do it just yet. Give me about another 2 or 3 minutes, maybe even a whole 5 of them, so I can stretch my talking piece out and really say what's on my mind, because I've been wanting to really just draw my line in the sand for a second. I don't need anybody to tell me about Pan Africanism and that it's a fucking joke. I've been saying that shit for years. For years, I've been saying it. One of my first Death of a Doctrine was about Pan Africanism. I've been talking about a lot of this stuff for forever. So when I hear guys talking about things that I've been talking about for years, they just sound like they're just catching up. They're just catching up. I made a video on that I produced on my other channel called A.J. Mount Schmuckatelli. Funniest thing about Schmuckatelli is that if it got the kind of coverage that it deserved, it would have been one of those things that I was talking about. Like, look out for the police being your next major dude who's going to do something crazy. What he was doing was fucking terrorism, y'all. This dude was. Do you guys know the kind of violence that biker gangs are engaged in? Do you understand what the fuck they do? Listen, let me go ahead and break something down to you. The strongest gangs in every state are the biker gangs. In case you did not know this, I just told you something that most niggas couldn't tell you because they don't know. The strongest gangs in any state. Ask the street niggas, okay, who's really running shit on the interstates? Who's bringing the shit in to the hoods and all that? The bikers. They've been doing this shit for decades. Don't get it fucked up. When you take shit to listen, when I was drawing the line for us between these sorry ass so-called Israelite dudes and that poor young lady, because in my mind, these guys did some kind of human sacrifice to her. Can't prove that. There's no way of proving that. For 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 facts, that's what happened though. For facts. That's why they can't find the body. Why the whole church is tight-lipped about it. They did something to that young lady. They did something to her. These motherfuckers did something to her. I can't prove it because I'm not there to put my ear to the ground and really, invest. I'm in America. They're in the UK. It's that simple. However, the whole point is this: is that I'm quite sure that they did some type of human sacrifice to her. I mean, I'm pretty sure. And you gotta draw the line. You have to fucking say, you know what? I've had enough. I've had enough. You take justice, black people. You don't wait for somebody to give justice to you. Martin Luther King waited his entire life for white people to do the right thing, to do right by a black man. And it never happened. You know what happened to him? He got a bullet to his head because he waited for justice to be given to him. If taking justice means taking my chances with the Most High and believing that I have to, with all my heart and soul, desire to be saved and delivered from this land and from the hands of wickedness, and that it takes a righteous portion of the people to deliver us out of the hands of the wicked through a similar petition at a similar time. That's fine. I can believe that as a part of taking justice. But what I know outside of my verbal affirmations, I know that there's actions that I can do. There's things that I can do, okay, to make it better for myself and not worse. And black men are always, and black women sometimes as well, but black men are always versed with these sort of options that are, they always seem like they're lose-lose. Like there's no win in it anyway. I'm going to lose no matter what. And part of this weekly update, I just want to point out how you're not gonna get where you think you want to get or need to get until you start drawing the lines with people. You see what I'm saying? It has to just be known. This is what I stand for. This is what I'm about. If a person thinks that they can talk you into something, right? Uh, they're gonna try. They're gonna try. You know. Give me one moment. While I'm looking at this stuff this week. Okay, here we go. Let's read about how hour ago they just found out that my guy Paul Manafort is about to be sitting down for, they say 4 years. We'll see. He'll probably just do like 2.5 and get out. But still, this is the first time I heard of some shit like this, pretty much ever. Can you guys think of a time where somebody in like the Obama administration, hell, even in the Bush administration? Think about this for a second. Bush Cheney blasted a motherfucker in the face. Okay? Blasted him in the face. All right? Said it was an accident. Nothing ever came about. Nothing. I need y'all to really think about that for a second. And they're about to sit this dude down for 4 of them, saying that he lied about the shit that happened. This is how This is how it works. Okay? Give me one moment. Bam. We can look at a couple different articles while we're here. Go ahead and hide this. We don't need to hear nothing. We just need to just go ahead and read a few things. Paul Manafort, who once served as President Trump's campaign chairman, was sentenced to nearly 4 years in prison Thursday for cheating on his taxes and bank fraud. A spectacular fall for a once high-flying political consultant who told the judge he is now humiliated and ashamed. Manafort faced up to 24 years in prison under federal sentencing guidelines, but U.S. District Court Judge T.S. Ellis called the calculation excessive and sentenced him to 47 months. If this motherfucking Manafort had been somebody else, okay, and committed bank fraud and cheated on his taxes, and I need y'all to understand, they also accused this dude of sitting down with the Russians, but we're gonna go ahead and keep it pushing. The government cannot sweep away the history of all these previous sentences for similar crimes. Ellis noted that he must be considered that he must consider the entirety of Manafort's life when issuing a sentence, noting Manafort has been a good friend and a generous person, but that cannot erase the criminal activity. Manafort's tax crimes, the judge said, were a theft of money from everyone who pays taxes. Stop right there. This motherfucker should have got the full fucking sentence. Should have got banged out. Okay? If you were a regular tax consultant, some shit like that, and you did some shit like this, brothers and sisters, they would have hit you with the book and broke you down. Okay? They might not have gave you a federal sentence, but they would have made sure you got hit with the book. But white criminals who commit white collar crimes normally get hit with, a whole lot of lenience like this motherfucker did. Yeah, because 27 years on a 69-year-old, he's out of here. He's out of here. You're supposed to get out at 96, even if you fucking calculate like 3/4 of the time, which would be like 22 years. Still, he's out of here. You get what I'm saying? They said, no, man, we can't even risk that. We can't even risk that. So, 4 years, and he might, like I said, he might do 2.5 on those and get out at 71, 72. He's lived an otherwise blameless life, Ellis said. The judge noted Manafort had no past criminal history, and earned the admiration of a number of people who wrote letters to the court to support Manafort. Listen to this right here. What this guy went through was no different than what I asked y'all to do, than what y'all did for me, right? But the courts didn't fucking consider anything that anybody said that was written down. This is the difference between being a white person and being a black person. But I need y'all to understand that this shit right here, this is what's going on right now, right? So if this guy went down and Trump's so-called circle, and let's just read this part right here. There's a whole lot of shit I don't really care about. Prosecutors painted the former Trump campaign chairman as an incorrigible cheat who must be made to understand the seriousness of his wrongdoing. Manafort contends he is a mere collateral damage in special counsel Robert S. Mueller's investigation into Russian involvement into the presidential election. There we go. At outset of the hearing, Ellis addressed the larger special counsel investigation, saying Manafort was not convicted for anything to do with Russian colluding in the presidential election. No, that's because he agreed to motherfucking say he did all this other shit. So he admitted to these crimes to let those crimes, okay, be overlooked. Understand that. You see what I'm saying? This shit with Russia is about to blow up. I'm about to keep it on MSN real quick. I'm about to look for something else. There's a couple other little things I had seen earlier. I might have to actually go look for them because this is a break in the story. I would hate that. Let's poke our head over here real quick. That's the headlines. Let me see if I can't get it. Give me 1 second, y'all. We'll come back to that. That sounds interesting. But this is what I wanted to show y'all. Now, this shit right here, they're saying that it's an hour ago, but this is old. This is from like almost 3 days ago. Now, I'm going to read this little what this says right here. It says, this January 9, 2019. Listen, y'all. January 9, 2019. They're building the fucking wall. I don't know what you all think this is. That's a wall to me, damn it. Crews install a new border wall sections from the Tijuana, Mexico border. Seen from the Tijuana, Mexico. Senator Dick Durbin, Democrat of Illinois, says the Pentagon is planning to tap $1 billion in leftover funds for military pay and pension account to help President Donald Trump pay for his long-sought border wall. Now, listen, if that's the case, that would bring the total to $2.75 billion. You're only $3 billion short of the wall now. Okay? You get another $500 million. Literally half of the wall has been paid for. Right. Fuck with me. We're not even going to read a whole bunch of this. We're just going. I'm just going to jump into it. I've read what the plan is, okay, already, and I just told you what the plan is. They're going to take as much from this, but I told y'all the real plan. All their illicit activity, everything that they've been doing illegally, they're gonna get this nonsense out of here. Can't get this ad out of here for nothing. 1 second. Please. Damn. No, can't do nothing. Just gotta look at the white chick while I read it. I'm sorry. They are struggling to come up with an alternative to simply voting up or down the House measure as required under a never-used Senate procedure to reject a presidential emergency declaration. Why I jumped right there is because I want y'all to understand. Listen, a never-used Senate procedure, it's never been used, okay? What they're trying to do to shut this shit down on Trump has never been used before. So, in other words, what Donald Trump is doing is not illegal. Okay? It's actually not illegal. Right. But see what they're arguing though. They're saying lawmakers in both parties believe Trump is inappropriately infringing on Congress's power of the purse. Stop right there. If Donald Trump wanted to pass an executive order that would be something tantamount to this, as opposed to declaring this an emergency, he could. The thing, though, is that they could always write a law into effect that could challenge the executive order. You understand what I'm talking about? That would take place almost immediately as you put out an executive order. With this being declared a national emergency, the only way they can do it is if they go at it from the idea of a national emergency, saying that it's not a national emergency. This is why it's never been used, because they can't think of a time when a president would have actually said, okay, we need to use military funds to build a fucking wall. This stuff is real, y'all. Now, what this has to do with everything, your guy, Paul Manafort, all right? All these dudes that you see getting hit up, they're to take the heat off of the situation that's going on right now. Because the idea is this: you get enough money from the military pension, right? You create a kerfluffle there. You say that one of his top men is going down for being a dirty son bitch, which he probably is. You get people caught up on all that. I'm trying to tell y'all, the other money that they're going to pull out of nowhere is going to be money from their illicit activities. But it's going to be hard for people to argue that they got the money from wherever they're going to say they got it from, because they've had the smoke and mirrors going on for so long. This is why I show you all the shit that be happening, because you shouldn't be surprised that a person who admitted to sitting down with Russians, okay, who was Paul Manafort, gave up himself to say, okay, you know what, fuck it, I'll admit to these other crimes so long as you guys don't charge me with this other shit. And that's what happened. So when you have that type of dynamic, everybody's eyes are off of where they're actually reaching to go get this money. You see what I'm saying? Because people are talking about things like that. They're going to talk about this Manafort character for the next who knows how long, because it's a big deal that he got chopped down the way that he did. Let's see something. All right, bam. So the money that they're getting into is recruitment money. There we go. There we go. That's where the money's coming from. That's where that's coming from. That's what the surplus $1 billion is. And the military is worried that they're not going to be able to recruit to expected numbers this year and pay people pensions and bonuses to their freaking recruiters for getting their numbers right. So they think this could affect overall the numbers of the military is what they're trying to say. Let me go ahead and find that article that I was at before all this. What? I'm not even going to read that shit. This shit is crazy. I'll let you guys come and check out MSN on your own. Utah passes bill legalizing sex outside marriage. They passed a bill that okays adultery. This shit is crazy. This shit is crazy. Please let me go ahead and get back to what's going on in the world. This shit is crazy. Man, I can't believe I just seen that just there. Here we go. There we go. And look, just that quick, as I've been reading to y'all. An outrage. Manafort's life sentence criticized as disrespectful. No shit is disrespectful. Anyway, give me 1 second. Oh, wow. One second. Where is it at? Where is it at? I can't find it right now, y'all. What? This shit is crazy. This shit is crazy. It might have been this one right here that targeted the little Spanish speakers at the border, but I'm not even going to worry about that now. I've had my fill of the wall. Let me see. I'd have to go to my email, so let me go ahead and kill the sharing for a second. I have to go to my email. I'm gonna have to pull up this South China uh, whatever Morning Post and talk about your boy D Treasy for a second and how they say he's helping up their stocks, but they don't know for how long. And I'm like, all this, all this shit is just a game. But it's so hard to put it all into perspective in one conversation. You get what I'm saying? I get a little bit of time to talk to you. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Um, it's unfortunate that this young chick who they believe has been murdered. It's unfortunate that it took 6 weeks for anybody in her family to say anything. You know what I mean? Uh, it's a crying shame that it took her family that long to get their shit together. You know, but the same way that that's a crying shame, it's a crying shame that the same way that the military would spend billions of dollars, right? We're talking about. Listen, I need y'all to understand. They were spending like $1 billion a day in Iraq when the war peaked, but they won't let this dude Donald Trump get $5.7 billion to build a border wall. I need y'all to really understand. This is the type of shit that goes on in this country. Okay, you got to draw your line somewhere and say, all right, well, if I was willing to stand back and be out the way of these motherfuckers, I need y'all to understand. If you didn't go out there and picket sign and voice your disdain and disgust for the Bush administration indiscriminately dropping bombs all over the Middle East, you can't say shit about this motherfucker wanting a border wall. Right. You don't have any logical ground to stand on. Because you would have to have been that hardcore to be like, oh, that's bullshit that he wants to build a wall now. No. They talked about building a wall, like I told y'all the last time, forever. It's not the first time this shit has come up. During the motherfucker Bush's reign of terror, they were going to build a wall. Right. Reign of terror. That's exactly what it was. Hundreds of thousands of Afghanis, possibly over 1 million, but I know hundreds of thousands and a high number as well of Iraqi and Afghanis died needless deaths, needless, at the hands of witchcraft technology, smart bombs, or whatever the likes, and then in your face, people gunning them down, people freaking bludgeoning them to death and shit like that. This shit is crazy, y'all. I need y'all to understand this. All right. You gotta have you got to draw your line in the sand somewhere. And that's taking justice. That is taking justice. All right. I went to court the other day and I gotta go back on the 2nd. I go back on the 2nd of April for this one. I go back for the 2nd of May for the other one. But anyway, I told the people I didn't want to call nobody and check in with nobody. I wasn't doing none of that. The little chick had the papers ready and all that, trying to sound as nice as she can sound, but you know, she a mental retard, just like the rest of them. But I can't hold that against her for being retarded. You see what I'm saying? And not knowing it because her whole life she's been taught that she regular. But me drawing the line in the sand came when pretty much seeing that all the people in this system that they have here, they've got them either taking medication and going to classes or some sort of thing like. And I'm like, I've done nothing wrong to be in this type of situation, right? So why would I capitulate? Why would I surrender my rights as an individual, as a person, because you as a judge or whatever the fuck because you can impress that upon me. Now the judge obviously couldn't do shit because I didn't give in to that demand, and I won't. I won't. Like I told the lady and the other lady, I'll go to prison before I take medication. It's that simple. You're not forcing me to do shit. I'll go to whatever classes you want me to go to. I'm not taking medication. It's that simple. It's that simple. And anybody who won't fucking draw the line in the sand, they won't take justice. That's a fact. That's a fact. If all black people are umbrella the same, you can't take justice. Want to know why? Because if that person is aboriginal, right, the justice that they need is totally different than the justice needed for a black person that was brought here. All right? The justice they need is for all the blood shed on this land. All right? Not just blood loss getting to the land, okay? Not just blood shed once you got to the land, okay? They're not looking for money for the industrious nature of the black man, even though they think they are, they're not. We are, because we're those people. See what I'm saying? And that's where you draw the line. If you can't draw the line, if you don't draw the line, if you just toe the line, you're going to end up a victim every time. I guarantee this for a fact. You're going to end up a victim every time. You can't toe the line, okay, and think that you're going to win. You just can't. You just can't. You can't toe the line and think that you've got a chance. That's why it's been so important to me for years to say, look, man, we're all not the fucking same. You know? What's wrong with me saying we're not the same? That changes nothing. If anything, it makes it easier to distinguish the struggles. At some junctions and points, the struggles intersect. But at many junctions, the struggles are different. I wouldn't know about being a black person whose family went to a Native American tribe and got kicked out, got disowned, right? Because they didn't want to claim us as black Indians. I don't know nothing about that. All right? I don't. So I'm not going to sit here and front like that happened to my family. Okay? I'm not going to tell you no lies. But what I will tell you is that my father, just like his father, okay, is a veteran. My father's father fought in the Korean conflict. All right? Made it. Now, when he came back, he brought some bad habits with him that have been passed down for generation to generation. And maybe, who knows? Maybe I break it. Maybe not. But the point and the fact of the matter is that the people I seed from are different than those that have a grievance to the land. I don't feel like I have a grievance to the land of America, like the physical land is not my grievance. How my people were treated is my grievance. Right. Totally different. People can't even respect that. People refuse to respect that. People refuse to respect the fact that if they roll with me, my argument has more power than it does not have power. Listen, just get my point. If the curse of Ham only applies to truly Hamitic people, those that are Canaanites, first and foremost, now they have to show you how these people are related to those groups. And if they're not, that means that you falsely persecuted them under a false premise, outside of all the other things that you did to them. See, you create logical dialogue. You create talking points that they can't deny. And a person can't just say, oh, well, no, because the amount of suffering that took place is is no longer negligible. You see what I'm saying? It can no longer be swept under the rug. Why do you think you have people, once again, this is why I've been drawing my line so hard against, mulatto representation. Ain't no mixed person gonna represent me. It's not happening. It's taking justice. When you draw the line in the sand, trust me, justice has been taken in so many ways. You're already, because nobody's going to give you justice. I can't stress that to you enough. No one's going to give you what it is that you truly deserve. You must take those things. People always believe that if you just put forth your best foot, then people will respect you. No, that's not true. Sometimes people will try you when you put forth your best foot to say, okay, well, how much more can I get out of them? When you draw the line in the sand and say, I won't do that, you've taken justice for yourself. Because at that point in junction, this party now understands I cannot ask them to do more than what it is that they've already agreed to do. So you have to be the difference in how it is that people look at you and treat you. That's it. No one else can tell you, hey, brother, hey, sister, if you tied your shoes, you wouldn't trip over them so much. You wouldn't trip over your laces so much. Because if people tell you that you should tie your shoes, you say, well, this is how I wear my shoes. Okay, well, that's fine. So we don't want to hear about you complaining, talking about, damn, and I'm always tripping all over the place. Because the first criticism, which is actually which is a true critique that you deserve, is, hey, if you tie those, that won't happen. But because they've drawn the line in the sand for themselves, they've taken justice on the fact that they can choose to do as they please, right? See, once again, taking justice doesn't mean that you took justice for the right cause or for the right things. It just means that you took justice. Right on. You made something wrong right. And if you think that it's wrong that people tell you how to wear your shoes, you've righted it by drawing the line in the sand and saying, this is how I wear my shoes, and I won't do anything different. You must be willing to speak up for yourself on a level that no other person ever will. You must be willing to stand up for yourself. When you defend yourself, verbally or physically or both, one must understand that you have to give this has to be the most energetic effort, most well thought out planned effort that you do. It can't be for naught. Prime example, if you tell somebody, hey, I'll go for this, but I won't do this, and they say, okay, well, this party is offering this to you, and you say, no, I don't want that. Let's wait a year. Let's see how they feel. Let's see if they won't change the deal, right? Maybe in a year, there's another party that you're working with. Maybe somebody more peaceable to your cause. You see what I'm saying? You have to know and discern, once again, in your mind and in your heart, what it is that you know is good between what you think is good. I always think that it's best for me to just talk up for myself right then and there. Then I find out sometimes the hard way, I should have just not said anything. Should have just let that shit go. You see what I'm saying? And I'm talking about basic, regular stuff. I was at work the other day talking to the guy about why the machine went down. And I have to remember that these dudes don't speak proper, pure English. So you have to speak broken English to him sometimes. And he said, "What happened, my friend?" And I said, "Right here is all messed up." Then another guy came up and he said, "What?" He said, "What's wrong?" I said, "It won't cut." He said, "Oh, don't worry. Just turn the machine up, and after a few of the straws comes out, it'll shoot them out regular." Now, fortunately for me, the situation happened pretty quick from itself. You know what I'm saying? So I saw one guy, then I saw the other guy. But the thing is this though, is that had I if I don't speak up for myself, which is you have to turn on the light there, right? And then like this little red light will blink. If you don't do that for yourself, you don't get to figure out, you don't know what the problem is. My first time working on that machine, he's been there for years. Oh, I know that this machine does this. No big deal. Just let it keep doing this each time you have to change the paper or whatever. But if I don't draw the line and say, hey, I don't understand why the normal process for remedy hasn't worked for this, they're not going to understand that I need it to work for me. They might just think I'm being stupid or just trying to waste time, because people do stuff like that. However, you have to know when you need something and when you don't need something. Okay? At work, if I don't need help, I generally don't ask for help. If I don't need anything, I generally don't ask for it. In general. Just so that way when I do need something, hopefully the idea is, because I don't ever ask for anything, the help will be rendered to me because I don't ever request it. Right. Doesn't seem like it's justice for myself, but it is justice for myself if I set myself apart, if I draw the line in the sand by how I work, by how I do my work, by the fact that I don't ask for assistance. Maybe this is something that another party looks at and says, you know what? Even though I don't like everything that he does, or maybe that he says, or however, maybe I just don't like him in general, but the fact that he makes my life easier by not needlessly or in some sort of wanton manner abuses the assistance mechanism that's been set in place to help people who actually do need help and do need assistance, or they require it for whatever reason. Maybe it's just for a restroom break, water break, whatever. But he doesn't make it hard on us. You see what I'm saying? He doesn't make it hard on us. So therefore, and by me not making it hard on somebody, I've taken justice already, because I've drawn the line in the sand between myself and the other parties around. So I've already justified myself. Already. This is how you have to do it. No matter what you're doing, you need to be set apart. Even if you're around a bunch of individuals that you believe are more talented than you are, you need to find a niche. You need to find something that you can do that's different than everyone else, okay, that sets you apart. This is part of drawing the line in the sand, is that you have to be unique to the set of abilities that you have to be unique with. Okay? That's what's most important. That's how you draw the lines in the sand. This is how you take the justice. For me to act as if I am something that I know I'm not, and then to try to justify that, means that the line that I'm drawing in the sand can be stepped over and erased fairly quickly. But if I draw a deep line, hard line, one that stretches from one bound to another, even if they cover up that part of the line, they have to come and cover up all this whole entire stretch. And if I get any time to go back and undo what they've been trying to cover up. This will be an ongoing process. My line will stay forever established because there's always going to be people who seek to be counterproductive to what you're doing at all times. It would be unforeseeable that you live in America, you have brown skin, whether it be light brown, medium brown, or dark brown, you have brown skin, and for the most part, for the most people I'm talking to, have thick hair, thick, thick curly coils, right? Not the looser curls that are more, I guess, like they're easily defined, you know. But us, you're always going to be challenged. It's unforeseeable for me to tell you that you're going to go unchallenged. So I have to say to you, you need to draw the lines in the sand at every single level. If I tell you I'm not Aboriginal, that's not to offend Black Aboriginals. That's not to offend them at all. What that is to do is to say, okay, well, if this person is a Black Aboriginal and my people were brought here, okay, bam. We need to come to the common level that our common ground is that we're both from the turf. You're indigenous to the turf, but my people were brought to the turf and we've been here for hundreds of years. You see what I'm saying? So we're native to the turf by birth, but this is where who knows how long these people had been here before that. I respect that. But I'm not going to sit here and play with you and tell you something that I know is not true. I'm not. I'm not going to sit here and act like I promote ideas that I don't promote. The reason why I'm so objective and can be objective is because I accept the things it is that I see, that I read, that I encounter, that I experience. I accept and I acknowledge them. Doesn't mean I like it. Doesn't mean I enjoyed it. It just means I accept that. Bam, okay, I can take that. But if I don't accept the sheer reality of what is as opposed to what is not, I'm gonna fail. I'm gonna falter every time. Everyone is susceptible to the same thing, to that sort of failure. So you must be willing to accept and acknowledge things that you may not want to acknowledge or accept, that you find uncomfortable, that you find displeasing, right? But once you accept them, now you're like, okay, all right, well, what else is next? Okay, well, what's next is you stating your grievance the right way. What is your grievance, sir or man? And how may you be helped once your grievance is heard? See, a lot of people don't want to hear if you go and say they've committed genocide against Black people, and the white man says, okay, well, which ones? That's not a trick question. That's a real, that white man meant that. Which ones? Because, as I've said before, and I will continue to say, Africa, even before the white man got there, was the most genetically diverse place on Earth, meaning there are more humanoids walking around in Africa than any other place on Earth. Right. Humanoids being at a very appropriate term. There are groups of people in Africa who will tell you that they don't come from any region of the earth, that they come from the middle of the earth. They'll tell you this. This is their own history out of their mouth. Yet, for some odd reason, these people are liars. So then I can say that everything else is a lie, right? You see what I'm saying? You have to believe what people are telling you, no matter how uncomfortable it makes you. If the Makuzi Indians say that their people come from Middle Earth, damn it, I believe them. Why not? Fuck it. That's where y'all come from. That's where y'all come from. If the Hopi Indians said that they come from Middle Earth, guess where they come from, dog? Middle fucking Earth. You have people who want to question the most basic stuff. These are what other people say. It's not what I said. This is what they. You can look into their histories. They'll tell you this. But because people can't believe that genetic diversity is based on the fact that all people don't even share common ancestry on Earth, at a genomic level, they don't share common ancestry. And people think I'm stupid for drawing a line in the sand and saying, hey, we're not those people. We're these people. Right. But I'm stupid. That's crazy. It's complete, utter madness. How could I be stupid for saying that, hey, black man, I think you have different genetics than other black people on this planet. And the ones who look similar to you, they don't have the same precursors in their genetics to make them successful in certain avenues in life. This is one for you. For you to be able to engage in a certain skill, you have to be able to emit the frequency that is required for that skill to take place, for that activity to manifest. Did you understand what I just said? I said in order for you to do a skill, you have to bring forth the frequency that is involved in the manifestation of the activity. Can you dig it? That means that if you can't manifest, bring forth the frequency, you can't do the activity, no matter what it is. So that's a fact. So if you're wondering why black people have the ability to do things, are skillful in the ways that they're skillful, it's not just because, oh, they have hard labor and all. No. They were already athletic before that. They were already smart and intelligent before that. This is why when construction places do get black men who do show up to work, they're always like, these guys are my best worker, hard workers, intelligent workers. But brothers live a different existence. They don't get to go through where the world has to give them a second chance and a break every time something unfortunate happens to them. That's not how the way the world is. Okay. And just going back to your genetic background, if the Holy Scripture that people want to say was copied right out of Kemet, question for all those dudes is, why is it that people who look similar to black people here in America, right, aren't nearly as industrious as black people who live here in America, yet they come from places that have similar or better natural resources available at their fingertips? That's number one. Number two, why is it that the black people who are here in America fit the lines of the Israelite people, not any kind of Kimite people, but a Semitic people? At best, you could argue a Hamido-Shemitic, meaning that they're Semitic and Hamitic. At best, you could argue that for a few of the tribes, but predominantly a Semitic people. So if that's the case, and there's different places where in scriptures it says that for one of the tribes, Judah in particular, that they're blessed with the ability of workmanship, knowledge, and understanding in all things. Does that not make sense as to why a black person, hold on, not from the Aboriginal ilk and not from any other ilk of people who are not genetically related to us, does this not explain why they're so skillful in everything that they do? Right. If I explain to you the blessings of each of the tribes and then ran them all down, and then you as a person thought, okay, well, which one of these applies most to me? Most people would have blessings that fall within the Levite, Jehudite, and Benjamite class. Want to know how I know this right here? Because those were the same groups of people that got pushed into Africa. So you had a group of people who understood natural workmanship, who were natural leaders. Okay, you had a pure warrior class amongst you, the Benjamites,
And then you had a priestly class amongst you, the Levites. See, when I say things like this, normally they don't go over very well. For some odd reason, it's going over well. So I'm going to keep going and just say like this right here is that that's why I can draw my line. It's easy to draw a line like that. If I can accept that Amenhotep, right, and Akhenaten and Tutmosis, if I can accept that all three of those guys are not Moses, if I can say that those three guys are not this one guy, for sure, just based on the fact that not one of those three individuals exist in a time period close enough to be all, once again, you can't be all three of the same people who all existed at different times and then also be yourself. You see what I'm saying? That doesn't make sense. But what I can say is this though, is that if I am a person who has contended on a basic level, on a genomic level, that you're different and you should be treated different based on who you are, not what you think and not what we've been told. We were told that one drop of Negro blood makes you essentially a Negro, but not one black person invented that doctrine. That's not something that we invented. So you have to draw the line in the sand and take justice and say, that's not true. That's not true. That is not true. You see what I'm saying? The one drop rule was not established by us. That was established by them, the others. We are a special people. We have been through things that no other people could have ever been through. It would have broken their civilizations back several times over. And yet we're still here. And even though we've been through the worst thing that people could ever imagine, somehow we're still the scum of the earth. Right. That's my point. So why shouldn't I draw a line in the fucking sand and say, I'm not like other people? Not only am I not like the people that I'm most related to genetically, but I'm most definitely not like these other people that you want to say that we're all the same as. I'm unique. You're unique. You're special. To the cause and course that there's things that you can do that no other person can do at your skill and ability and at your level. And I dare one of you to tell me that I'm a lie and that's not true to you right now. I dare you, because I'll call you a liar right back. Everyone listening has an ability that they can engage in right now at this very moment that other people aren't that skillful at, and they know it. And this isn't me just talking about, oh, well, what about people who were good at everything outside of us? Do they not have to hone these skills as well? Like you honed your skills? But your people, unlike all the other people who have skills to draw and handcraft, right? And cook and sing and dance and entertain themselves, the difference between you and them is this, is that things that you do, other people enjoy. Right. Right. Slaves came out of slavery and created music genres in less than 20 years after their bondage. Genres of music that influenced and shaped the literal landscape of the country. Right. Right. People don't even think about that. And they're like, well, why does that matter? How do you think they developed those skills and abilities while they were on the plantation? It was not uncommon for slaves out of nowhere. When I say at the drop of a dime out of nowhere, to just start singing, it was not uncommon. Right. And let their bereavement be known through song. It was not uncommon. So the bereavement that they had shown for years and years and years, hundreds of years, translated. That's why they call it soul music, because you're spilling your soul when you do that, because you're telling something about you, something deep and real about you. This is true. They hate this about Black people, in particular our brand of Black people. They can hate me for wanting to draw the line in the sand. Not wanting, I am. I'm taking justice for us. Don't worry. I speak for the people who won't speak up for themselves, because I realize they won't. They're afraid. Let me say this again. For all those that are not of the ilk, from those born from the turf, start your own damn movements. It's not that hard. You already coattail everything that niggas do. Coattail all the movements that we got going on, and make it happen. Take the same acronym, whatever, make your own. If your grievance is legitimate, there's no way it won't be heard. But that's what I'm saying, is that these other guys, they don't think like that. They don't even think to say that to the people. You know how long I've been telling people to not vote? I was telling people not to vote when D. Treasley was getting elected into office. All right? They're years, when these guys are telling you to hold your vote, these guys are years late. When I say years late, they're literally years late. Literally. They're so far behind the curve. So it does me no good to tell you things just to have to hear another person say the same things, just for my people to be like, oh, yeah, we shouldn't vote. I should withhold my vote. It's like, that's madness. That's madness. Before these guys were saying that before anybody was saying that the machine was broken, I've been saying that the machine was broken. I've been saying it. Other people would tell you not to vote because it's wicked and it's evil, and it's got nothing to do with this, number one. But number two, and a very close number two, if not number one itself, is the fact that it's a broken machine. It's broken. Why would I try to use something that I know doesn't work? That's stupid. But I've been saying the same thing for years. So why would I now all of a sudden act as if shit that I've been saying that is brand new to me? No, I know that. There's a plethora of things that these guys are just now starting to get hip to, just now starting to say out loud that I've been saying out loud for a long time. Some of the stuff I said so long ago that it sounds new to other people, but I'd be like, man, I know I've said that before. And I might have said this shit like 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago now for some of it. You can't expect for people to do the right thing. This is why I'm saying to y'all, like, you have to draw the line. You have to put that line in the sand. Because you can't wait for somebody who you think knows better, or you know knows better, to act like they know better or to do better because of that. No, you have to do those things for yourself based on your own understanding of what the situation brings. If you know, for example, if you're a landlord and you have a tenant who never has their rent ready till the 5th of the month, right? Never on the 1st, but the last day they can have it paid up is on the 5th. and you go over there on the first and you get pissed off every time you go over there on the first, maybe it would behoove you to wait till the fifth. Not to the third or the fourth, but wait till the fifth. So then that way, you know what? You say, okay, I have to, everybody else will have theirs on the first. This person has theirs on the fifth. So that means I have to come back on the fifth. It shouldn't take that person telling you to your face, hey, mother sucker, I'm never going to have the money on the first. Even if I have it, I'm not giving it to you on the first. I'm giving it to you on the fifth. Right. It shouldn't take them saying that. You should be able to recognize that and say, all right, bam, okay, I'm going to draw my own line now. Boom. I'm not going to be there till the fifth then for them. And I won't bother them. So long as they have my money by on the fifth, as usual. No, all that depends because everywhere is different. Everywhere is different. Some places out here, the rent is late on like the third. You know what I mean? So it's like, all that. Right. Well, I mean, but once again, everywhere is different. Everywhere is different. But out here, there's places that shit. If you don't have it by the third, it's late. That's it. I think that's corny. Personally, I think it's corny. Just based on how the months are set up, and just based on how normal pay cycles are set up, is corny. But it is what it is. But no, I totally understand you, sister. For you know what I'm saying. Look, if rent is due a certain day and you don't pay it, the late fee's coming. That's that. Once again, though, if you don't do that and you don't draw a line in the sand, the person will say, you know what? I don't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? Uh, charge me. I'm late. Fuck it. Another person might say, you know what? She didn't charge me because I'm late. So I'm going to be late every time, until they put their foot down on me. And if they never put their foot down on me, I'm going to be late in this motherfucker as much as I like. And that's just how people are. And it takes us, it takes us knowing, we got to draw the line in the sand somewhere. That's what it is. Of course. If they act up, if you act up, I got to tax you. I'm sorry. There will be taxation, and trust me, you will have plenty of representation. I got you, dog. I got you. But no, that's just how you have to be. And still on the same note, this is why I say what I'm saying about Black people. We have to realize that what we've been through is a special and unique experience. It's not the experience of the Aboriginal who lost their homeland. And we have to respect the Aboriginal Black people to this land. And we have to show them, the utmost respect. You get what I'm saying? There can be no misunderstanding that this is their home first and foremost. And any claims to the land, unless you can prove that you have Aboriginal roots as well, you have no claims to the land. Even though I can prove I have Aboriginal roots on my mother's side or my father's side, through my maternal bloodline of my mom. My mom's mom was a Black Indian. My father's mother, I want to say that my father's mother's mother was Black, and she was Black and Black Indian. I met her. She had that like that intermediate hair, that it could go straight back if she combed it, but it would be fluffed up if she messed it up. But you could tell that, like now that I'm older, I can say that, like, yeah, you could tell that she was an admixture or whatever. And then not just to mention on my, uh, like I said, the white lady that's in my family on my father's side, on his father's side, you know. But anyway, that's just me breaking down my own bloodline and just understanding where I stand in the dynamic. If I wanted to make a claim about something like that, I could easily make a claim like that. But that's not where my heart's at, because my mama's father is a nigga. My daddy's daddy, ultimately, nigga. You get what I'm saying? Because and when I say ultimately, I'm thinking about 4 generations back when somebody would have been a mixed breed black person, mixed breed mulatto, whatever, mamzer, whatever y'all want to call them. That's what they would have been. But still, ultimately, their fraternal roots, my fraternal roots on either side, are black slaves that were brought here. So if I'm just going from my fraternal roots, I have no claims. None. No legitimate ones, not to this land. My claims are in the grievance of the mistreatment of our people. Right. Once again, I'm not greedy. I'm not like once I know they owe me all. Okay? You don't have to you don't ever have to tell Demetrius Antoine Jones, these motherfuckers owe me all. Never. Ever. You don't ever have to tell me that. I know they owe me all. I know they owe you all. Even if you don't know that, I'm telling you they owe you all. They owe you everything. Fuck them. And if they don't like it, if they don't like it, fuck them twice. However, that's just the point that I have to make, is that we're not. I refuse to be treated like I'm just anybody, run of the mill, whoever. I refuse. I refuse to associate with people who don't mind being allowed, who don't mind allowing themselves to be treated as if they're running the mill. I don't respect that. So, but inherently, I'm not going to respect you if I see you do that. Always let people know where you stand. That's drawing the line. That's taking justice the hard way. If I don't say to that lady at court, hey, look, I don't mind calling you. Or if I say to her, I don't mind calling y'all, sure, I'll check in with you. Then I go and do that bullshit just to find out that it's, and obviously it's just me calling. But I don't want to do that. But if I agree to that, now I have to do it. Right. And then whatever line that I've drawn, that's what they see. If I've drawn no line to them, right? Oh, that's what they see. They get, oh shit, we can do whatever we like. But the fact that they see me say, nah, no, I'm not doing none of that. They know coming next time, they're gonna have to come a little more proper than that. Right. You are responsible for standing up for you. Because guess who's gonna be there in that moment? You. Right. So that's why you're responsible ultimately for drawing the line in the sand for yourself. No one else is. No one else is responsible for establishing boundaries for you. The same way that a woman wouldn't let a man that she doesn't care for very much get too close to her, let alone make unwanted and unwarranted physical contact, is the same way you need to draw your lines. As a man, the same way that you wouldn't let a person get into your physical space, all right, or say certain things to you without there being physical consequences, more than likely, is the same way you need to be acting when you're drawing these lines. Had somebody try to tell me to do some extra work at work the other day. I told them straight up, no, hell no, I ain't doing that. And the next person who asked me to do some extra shit, man or woman, I'm going to show them how I'm going to treat them. Right. I didn't say, oh, I'm gonna whoop somebody's ass. I just said I'm gonna show them how I'm gonna treat them. Because if I go and I clean up to my standard, I might not even work the next day. I might show up to act like I work the next day, just so that way, when before you leave, you're gonna clean this shit up the same way that I cleaned it up. Otherwise, if you don't, now I may feel like taking some physical action against you, and I still might not, because I understand I'm at the workplace, all these cameras everywhere. But you'll know to never ask me for nothing ever again. But I don't have to take it there because guess what? If I feel like you're asking me for something that you should not be asking me for, I'm not doing it. Right. I draw my line early for anything. If somebody came here right now, let's just say, was like, drop the link. I put the link there. If they came on and was acting stupid, forced me to kick their monkey ass out, right? Boom. That would be that. See what I'm saying? I would have to draw the line right there. But if a person was cool and was kosher, they could come back whenever they felt like it, regardless of their opinion and their views on anything. A person could totally disagree with everything I say. So long as they can articulate what they're saying, I'm willing to listen to them. If there's something that I know is in error, off tops, I'm not going to let you go on. Well, I'm not going to listen to error. I won't even entertain that. I'm not. I'm not even going to entertain it because I already know it's wrong. And I can tell you where you're wrong at. So that's the real problem is that not only are you in error, but you don't know that you're wrong. That's the problem. You see what I'm saying? I can't go through that with nobody. Excuse me. And I won't go through that with anybody. My my biggest problem right now that I'm having, actually not these court cases, it's not allowing myself to think that I deserve justice in this land. And when I say that particularly to the fact that I believe that Black people are here to be taught a lesson, and that lesson is almost, the range of the lesson is almost over. I do believe that. And I believe that it's not supposed to be good for me while I'm here. You know, what kind of learning lesson is it if the whole time it's sweet? And it hasn't been sweet, it hasn't been sweet not one day for a Black man in this country. There's just been moments in the day, it seems as if things have been okay. There hasn't been one day that's been sweet for Black people. And that's where I stand. And I draw my line right there. And I live with that. I live with that. I live with knowing that what my people have been through, what your people have been through, what our people have been through is something that many, 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 many individuals can shrug off. Because number one, they don't look like you, they don't think like you, act like you, or talk like you. They're just not like you. They can't understand it. And there's other people who, once again, they fall in that same category, but they do their best to understand. And to some degree, they do understand. But there's a lot more people who look like you, act like you, talk like you, move like you, everything, right? And they are the ones who act most oblivious. You can't think because you have a little change put away that I'm not like the rest of these niggas. You can't think because your house is paid for or because you got a really good job that I'm not like the rest of these niggas. You can't think because you actually have a trust fund. I'm not like the rest of these niggas. You can't think because for some odd reason everything always goes your way, even when you're wrong. Can't think I'm not like the rest of these niggas. Because guess what? That's just the unique set of circumstances that were made for you. But there's another person who might be doing just fine, who the way that they grew up might have would be enough to break you, would be enough to make you throw in the towel and say, no mas. That's the difference. White people had better understand. See, it's easy for people to want to be in the struggle when the shit that they go through is not being pointed out, or the shit that they do is not being pointed out. These dudes who are so-called black activists and have white wives, right, or just non-black wives, or even little mixed breed wives, where they they act as if that person is blacker than a regular black person. I've never understood that, but we're in a dynamic in a time where these types of people, they have no respect for self. So therefore, they have no boundaries. There is no line in the sand with them. They never take justice. Coming up on that time, I had planned to do a vicious little piece about the IUIC. I'm glad I did it this way instead at the very beginning of this broadcast. I really am. Because at the end of the day, as lost, misguided, and even hateful as some of those black people are, I know there's a handful of black people that are stuck in those types of camps, cults, whatever, who so badly want to get out, but they're so far in they can't. I know there's black people like that. So I don't want to throw them, every last single one of them under the bus, but I need people to understand that as far as the movement, the GOCC, any of those guys, ISUPK, all of them, they're all garbage, But there's good people in any one of those camps, who are excellent people, but because they won't draw the line for themselves, they can't take justice. They won't take justice. They're terrified. You have got to be the difference for you. You have got to be the difference for you. Let me repeat myself one more time. You have got to be the difference for you. It's a must. No one else can do it. No one else has the ability. It's impossible. One of the worst things I think I've ever witnessed, as far as people not standing up for themselves. I was in like the seventh grade, might even been the sixth grade. Yeah, sixth grade. And these two white boys had got into a fight. I'll never forget this shit. And I'm gonna tell you what happened to the guy who did this shit later, because it's crazy how life works out. Little dude's name was Stefan, right? A white boy. And he was out there fighting with Todd. And Stefan had got the best of Todd. And he stood over Todd and said, "Open your mouth." And Todd opened his mouth and Stefan spit in his mouth and said, "Swallow it, bitch." Jeff is in here laughing. This shit is not funny. This is real life, man. And this dude swallowed this motherfucker's saliva, right? And I'm like, holy fuck. And I remember for years, when I say years and years and years, whenever Todd would try to like talk shit or like stand up for himself, it didn't matter because people would just go back to that moment. You know what I mean? Like, you let that dude spit in your mouth. You know what I mean? Like I mean, when I say that was some of the craziest shit I've ever fucking seen, man. I've seen some crazy shit, y'all. So, you know, I mean, like, but that's one of like probably like the most like disrespectful moments, human to human, I've ever seen. I mean, I'm like, damn. As a grown man, I think about that shit. I've never seen anything that savage as a grown man. You know, where like one grown man is like spit on another grown man in his fucking mouth. Like, you first off makes him open his mouth, right? You know what I mean? That has, you know what I mean? Like sixth grade. So yeah, line in the sand, y'all. You gotta fucking stand up for yourself. That white boy would have been better off taking that ass whooping and gotten his face spit on, right? Than to have taken the ass whooping and then like a fucking coward open his mouth to let this dude spit in his mouth. I say that to say this. Quit letting these people spit in your mouth, black people, by telling you who you are and who you ain't. Can you dig it? Quit letting these motherfuckers spit in your mouth by telling you what it is that you can stand up for and what you can't stand up for. I still think about it, so I know he does. I know he still thinks about it. If I'm still thinking about it, I know he's still thinking about it. But anyhow, don't be like him. But his position is the position that black people have been in for a long time. We've essentially let motherfuckers spit in our mouth and swallowed it. Fuck. It's horrible. I'm a black man that's a descendant of slaves that were brought here. My lineage is not aboriginal to this land. Through my father's bloodline. Through my mother's fraternal bloodline, through my father's fraternal bloodline. Now, if I went the other route, I could argue that I'm from the turf, from this turf, the other way. But I don't look like that. I look like this. If I look like that and I still thought like this, then I would say that I'm one of those people and the other guys are these people. But if I look like that and I didn't look like this, I don't even know if I have the ability to think like this. See what I'm saying? Draw the line for your people, not just for yourself. Don't be greedy. You guys are going to appreciate it one day a lot more than you do now. When that wall is built and they're going after student loans next, because that's going to be the next avenue of money. Don't worry. These people who have been paying their student loans and owe tens of thousands of dollars and haven't made an effort ever, give up any of that money, don't worry. They better pray. They better pray that Donald Trump doesn't get another 4 years. Because guess who's going to be the same head of the Department of Education? That's right, it's Betsy DeVos. You know, don't think if they can't show a relation between how many of these so-called immigrants owe college money, right, or money to these colleges, that they won't try to go after that shit aggressively. And then the Americans who owe tuition money will just be collateral damage. Okay. Okay. Right. Do you know how much money they're in debt in the schools? I forget the actual number. It's fucking ridiculous. Like when I say it's ridiculous, it's ridiculous. I'd have to go look for that. I have a link that's saved to that. It's something stupid though. You know, I'm pretty sure what's owed for the schools would be way more than enough to pay for that wall. You see what I'm getting at? Like, man, people have no idea how this is really going to work out. Looking vicious. They're tapping the military funds. If they've tapped military funds, what's to stop them from aggressively saying, yeah, we want people who are working to have their wages garnished this much a month. Based however much you're making is how much they're gonna garnish out that motherfucker. If you decide that you're all of a sudden not gonna work, they fuck around and come look for you and throw that ass up. Yeah, no, sister, it's a way so that way they can never own anything. You can, how can you possibly own something if you owe somebody your whole fucking life? You know, it's crazy. It's a trap, like you said. It's crazy. But but the only way to get a job that will pay you sort of what you're worth is to have a degree most of the time. So that's the only other way that you can look at that and say, all right, well, you know, I guess that's true. Martin, if you haven't heard shit I've said, young man, over these years, I'm totally against people sending their children to school. I'm totally against that shit. Uh, I know you're going to college and shit right now, but dog, before you accrue any sort of real debt, man, anything like that, you need to just know what the hell it is that you're after. If you can get just a certification and get the job, and the school will let you get just the certification, take just the courses for the certification, pay them for that. Don't pay for all the extra shit, dog. All right, don't do it. I'm just speaking because if you're gonna go to school, then you need to know, you know, how to do it. And you're only there for the things that are going to help you get the job that you want to get. So you need to know exactly what it is that's going to help you get the job, and then that's it. Yeah, for shit to have jumped up 7 times, that's crazy. You see that shit, Martin? From 10,000 to 70,000? Man, forget that. But but that just speaks volumes to the to what learning is. This is true story. When I was a kid, the school I was going to go to, the college I had already earned my way into, this I know y'all ain't gonna believe this shit. This is true story. The University of Puget Sound costs $64,000 a year. Okay, this shit is over $100,000 a year now. All right, and 13 years. If you want to get a real science or a real math degree, the University of Puget Sound will bankrupt you if your last name is not Gates. Man, that shit will fucking send you. The type of people who go to the University of Puget Sound are the type of people whose families, like their fathers made 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 a year. You know, people who made $1 million or better a year. You know, if you're a regular motherfucker going to the University of Puget Sound, you're going there on a scholarship. And trust and believe, your grades are A1. Because if those grades slip, man, you might as well drop out. You might as well drop out. Because unless the job you're about to have is paying over $100K a year, you're going to be in debt forever. That's a fact. The University of Puget Sound is considered the Harvard of the Northwest. And that bitch costs like the Harvard of the Northwest. Let me tell you that. It costs like Harvard, damn it. But if you go to the UPS and you get a degree out of that motherfucker, you can go anywhere on planet Earth. You know, I mean, suffice it that they have a job in that field. You can go anywhere on Earth with a degree from UPS. It's like having one from Oxford or Cambridge or any one of those places. That shit is bona fide. It's bona fide. So yeah, if you can procure the paperwork needed for the field of work that you're gonna do, the profession that you want to engage in, Martin, get the certifications, dog. You know, and say fuck the rest of everything else, man. Because all that shit is bullshit. You can buy online books. You can buy shit. You can buy a Kindle just to buy books, just to put on it, just to read. You don't have to do all that shit these days, man. You know, they don't know it, man. You know, they just don't know it. Just like the wisdom of Sister Tammy and Brother Andre. You know what I'm saying? Of you obtaining a tangible skill, something that you can. A skill is something you can take anywhere and apply anywhere. That's a skill, okay, bro? Even thieves have skills, okay? Even thieves have skills. So, exactly, a skill that you own, how to do so. But bro, there is nothing like learning something that people can't live without. Nothing like that. Trust me. You know. You know. And that's just, man, you know, people saying what it is, you know, that's true. But at the same time, dog, I'm gonna tell you, you know, the God honest truth. Most people you will deal with will never go through the type of shit that I've been going through. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, I love you right back, bro. You know, you ask the next time you're in any comment section of any one of these cats who've got more than 4,000 subs, 3,000 subs, 1,000 subs, ask these motherfuckers, when's the last time you had to fight, you know what I'm saying, for your rights? Ask them. When was the last time you stood up for somebody? Ask them. The dude that I stood up for, y'all, was a cat who found a wallet. This nigga found a wallet. After watching the video and really putting together all the kerfluffle, I'm like, so they saying he pickpocketed somebody because he found a fucking wallet? Right. But that's the type of shit I'm talking about, Martin, and everybody else. Ask these motherfuckers, when's the last time you did something that was worthwhile that didn't involve you? When's the last time they put the chicken on the line? Never. Got the nerve and audacity to ask you for the chicken, though. Wow. This shit is crazy. And the chicken in this case is the money. Ain't never gave you nothing but a bunch of lip service and got the audacity to tell you that their worthless fucking words are valuable enough for them to be paid. A fucking insult, I'm telling you. That's what it is. But my brothers and sisters, I'm saying this and then I'm done. The line that I'm drawing right now in this sand is one that won't be appreciated for years and years and years. Just like they didn't appreciate a lot of other things that I've said. Cats are just now starting to question Farrakhan. Outside of the fact that he's a Muslim, I couldn't care less about that. I know his father's a white man. People are like, well, what's wrong with that? I'm like, everything. You can't be the leader of my people. You can't lead my people, motherfucker. And you're the seed you're supposed to come. Why do you think the Nation of Islam Muslims go so hard for your maternal genetics? Because Farrakhan's mother is the black person, not his daddy. So they must argue something that is totally absurd. If y'all get it, if y'all understand it. I'm drawing the line in the sand for us so that way there need not be such confusion. Know so that way you don't have to learn, and learn so that way you don't have to know. Salute you guys. May you guys have a blessed day, night, weekend, and I'll see y'all soon.